Hey, what's up? Ryan here, founder of Applicant Pro, CEO of Refer, and today I'm going to tell you kind of one of my secrets to how I go about getting my new hires active, engaged, trained, whatever you want to call it. More than onboarding paperwork. This is about, hey, I've got all this knowledge about our industry, about our company, about our values, about how we go about doing things, about our customers, about our products and services, and also, about the team and how they interact, and information about our own, policies, our own procedures, our own manuals, the way that we approach things, and all of that I need to get inside of the head of an employee. And in this instance, it really comes down to, how are we going to be communicating this information to the employee? Clearly, step one is to make sure they have access. And I think a lot of companies do a pretty decent job of this. They've got inside the new hire paperwork, they might have given them access to an employee handbook, a culture book, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully you have some type of FAQ where employees can get access to go see that information. And so if that information is there, if not, go check out one of my how to create content videos and I'll talk through how do you build these books of content. But once you have the books of content and you give me access to it, that's just step one. That's not enough. What I mean by that is, okay, now I have access, but does that mean that I'm going to find the right information at the right time when I actually need it? And if that is left up to me, the employee, to go look for it, am I more likely to do that, or am I more likely to ask a friend or a manager and disrupt them? And so this idea of how are you going to get the content in front of them kind of begins with step one. Make sure you have the content and you've given them access, right? So that's number one. Number two is starting to think about, well, how are we going to trigger them to go look at that content? So on day one, you told them about how to get access to it. On day two, you gave them a login to it. But on day three, do they actually know that that's what's there? And will they go log in? Has it become a habit yet? And so to solve for that, I use drip email. And it is by far my secret to how to go about doing this. Now, some people might say, hey, why don't you use text messaging? That's just too aggressive. It is like fire alarm pulling. And since I'm going to send emails for the entire 100 days, 104 days, negative 14 to 90, from the time I make an offer all the way up to now, email is still the form of communication. That means I just have to teach employees, whether it's in their corporate email or if it's in their personal email, that I'm going to be sending them emails and they should check their email. And so checking email is actually a positive thing to teach younger employees that, hey, this is still how we communicate, right? This is still how we push notifications about holidays, notifications about policy changes, notifications about your paycheck being there. We still are heavily email driven because that's our primary focus of communication, while still giving the user the ability to make it not alert them. Text messaging just too aggressive. Apps require something to install. And so I go with email. So that's number one. I'm going to give you access to the information. Now I'm going to use email to drive you to go access it. Now this is where our roadmap comes in, because now we're going to say, what could we email these individuals each day, where we are highlighting a common question, where we're providing an answer to that question, where we're reminding them to go get access to more information in our fill in the blank, our FAQ, our LMS, like our HRS, wherever you store that information, you're going to have to continue to remind them. Now, I don't just send out, hey, remember there's access here. I actually start giving them and feeding them some of this information based off of my prediction, my roadmap of what you need to know and when. So I'm going to just keep dripping this information via email that points them back to our FAQ, points them over to our HRS, points them to wherever they need to get to in order to do those things, and just slowly drip those things out. Now, this does a handful of things, right? Number one, it gives a consistent message throughout time. Number two, it teaches the proper habit of where to go for information. Number three, it actually is a reactive mechanism. You see, where a lot of employers struggle is they keep complaining that their employees are not proactive. They say, hey, I gave you access to this information. I don't know why you don't go look there. That is a complaint of, I don't know why you're not being proactive. But the fact of the matter is, if you have inbox zero, which most people are, and you're living out of your email, which either employees tend to live out of their email or out of their schedule, out of their calendar, but most employees are living out of their email, therefore, and should be taught to, therefore, sending that email on a regular basis will cause them to react to it by learning something new each day that the email comes in, by clicking on a link to go back into the HRS or LMS or wherever you store that information, and it begins to build up this habit that that's where I go for information. That right there, by far, one of the most important pieces of this entire kind of new hire activation. Yeah, we've got to map it out. We've got to identify what we need to teach them. We need to write great content. But even if you've done all those things and you say, but nobody's actually reading it, most likely it's because you aren't putting it in front of them every day, every other day. You're not giving them something to react to. You're expecting them to wake up in the morning, think about it, and go log in on their own. And that's just a recipe for failure. It just is a recipe for disappointment, for feeling like, hey, nobody's reading this stuff, which starts this downward cycle of why would we create more content if nobody's going to consume it? It is our job not just to create the content, but to create the pathways that lead employees to go and consume. And email, that's my top secret right there. So thanks so much for watching today. Hey, take a second. Please subscribe to my channel. Please leave me a comment. Give me a like. Share it with a friend. Whatever the case may be. Shoot me an email. heybrian@refer.io. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I'm awesome. It doesn't matter. Just at least show me that you're listening. So thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.